Welcome to this class Gather. We're going to gather our senses. My name is Sal Hanvey and I'm a nutritionist and also a culinary extraordinaire when it comes to trying to put things together that really taste good, feel good, smell good, look good, and also is good for our health. So to gather this recipe together, I'm going to use a lot of ingredients, including Greek yogurt. You can use a dairy-free alternative if you like. I'm going to make flatbread from scratch, and the flatbread is yeast-free, gluten-free, wheat-free. I know, and I'm making it in about 5 minutes. It'll take slightly longer for this because it's obviously a process, but once you get going, it'll be great. So what we're going to do first of all is we're going to get a bowl and we're going to get a measuring scale. I'm putting it on and setting it at 0. What we're really trying to create here is a flatbread and Tazaki, so it's a bit Greek, a Greek dish, and I'll talk about all the benefits of that as we go along. So first of all, what I'm going to take is about one cup of cucumber. Roughly 1 cup. Cucumber is a fantastic diuretic. Has a lot of water, so we want to remove quite a bit with a bit of kitchen roll. So we'd like to get a bit of kitchen roll. Okay, let's see what we have. Yes, so this is roughly around a cup. It's probably about half a good sized cucumber. There's lots of fiber in this because of the skin. I'm leaving the skin on. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to soak it out with a little bit of kitchen roll, just to kind of give us a little bit of a less wet. It's going to be a creamy dressing dip rather than a wet one. Okay, so as you can see here, I'm gathering roughly around a cup. So that's perfect. So I'm just going to, at this point, get a bit of kitchen roll and just literally grab it like this. And you can see the excess. Look at that. So much. Squeeze it out. A lot. My goodness. And you can keep that if you like. You can actually put it into coconut water. Coconut water is extremely invigorating. It also adds that little bit of taste for people who are wanting to maybe get away from the likes of, gluten juices that are full of aspartame and other unnecessary foods and flavorings that we don't necessarily want to have to add to our food. So as you can see there, I've just squeezed out any excess moisture and put it into the bowl. They'll still obviously be slightly wet because cucumber, it's made up of a massive percentage of water. So it's just to kind of get rid of the excess. And then I'm going to take about 1 cup, about half a cup, depends how creamy you like it, of Greek yogurt. Okay, you can use coconut yogurt if you like, that's also a thing. And I'm going to use about maybe 3/4 of a cup, but you can use 1 cup, 1.5 cups. It really depends. This is what's so good about this recipe, is that you can actually choose what level you want it to be, the creaminess, the richness, and you're just literally putting it into the bowl. That's it. Okay. And then what you're going to do is you're going to get a little bit of salt and pepper. Okay. Just a little bit into the bowl. Okay. And then you're going to get a little drizzle of olive oil, and you're just going to put that into the mix, just a little drizzle. But 1 tablespoon, 1 to 2 tablespoons really. Okay, and then we're going to get about 1 to 2 tablespoons of mint. So again, you just want to get the mint and crush it. Take off the stalks, they can be a bit bitter sometimes. And then you just want to chop it down as finely as you like. If you like it a bit more rustic, you can have it a little bit more rustic. I like it broken down quite a bit. And then you just want to put that into the mix, infuse like so. And then you want to get a bit of lemon, take out the seeds, and just squeeze in a good, maybe tablespoon, a really good tablespoon of lemon juice, maybe even 2, depending. And that acidity breaks through the fat of the yogurt, which is a fantastic combination. So essentially at that point, you can or you cannot add a bit of garlic. Okay, I like to add garlic. Garlic is a fantastic elevator of flavor. It's an antioxidant, an antiviral, antimicrobial, antibacterial, antifungal, anti-parasitic. It's anti quite a lot, and it's also an antioxidant. And the reason for that is that what you're really doing is you are giving what nature gave us a go. And what you're doing is you're putting that into the food. You're gathering these different ingredients in order to create harmony. And what the best thing to do at this point is to add a tiny, tiny little bit of salt to your garlic, and that really breaks it down. What you have is, in its true form, alanine, which is a component that converts to allicin. And allicin, when you convert it, is what creates the medicinal healing properties of garlic. When you add the salt, it elevates it, it brings it out and helps it even further. If you don't like big chunky bits, it's best to break it down into little bits as much as you really like to chop. I'm not a stickler on it has to be a certain way. If some people like less cucumber, that's fine. If some people like less mint, garlic, olive oil, you know, this is just the recipe in which I use, and it's just to create tazaki. And tazaki is just a Greek dip for the bread that we're making. And then a little bit of dill, probably about a tablespoon of dill. And again, just breaking it down. Dill is my favorite. So this is what I say about gathering the senses. 80% of our cognitive memory is made up by smell. So when we smell a perfume, it reminds us of a time in our lives. We know this. If we smell something like, for example, for me, dill, and that's why I'm using it today, it reminds me of 1989 in New York at a salad bar called Sizzlers with my mum. So everyone is going to have their story of, oh, that reminds me of that, and this reminds me of this. Smell is so potent and so relevant to our cognitive function, to our memories, to our associations of times gone by. So dill for me, an absolute must. So I'm just going to set that aside, leave it for a little while. You can add a little bit more yogurt if you like, if you want it more creamy. I think I'm good. I think that's it now sorted. And now we're going to move on to the star of the show, which is the bread. Who doesn't love bread? I think I'm yet to meet somebody who said, no, not particularly fussed on bread, ever. I just don't think it's a thing. I think everyone loves bread. So we can just set that aside, and we're going to clear the canvas here. As I say, clear the canvas, because it is a work of art. It's an art form. When we're creating food, we're taking different foods that create, you know, like garlic's like the base, you know, and then you've got different things like your salt and your pepper, which adds the flair. Then you've got your colors, your textures, your tastes, all illuminating, and all of these things come together in order to create a recipe in the hope that you like it. So what we're going to do is we're going to dry fry bread. If you've ever done it before, it's so delicious. So if you haven't done it before, this is going to be something that's going to help you handle those experiences of, oh, I really want bread, but I don't want the wheat or the gluten or the yeast or the dairy or any of these things. This is a perfect way. So if you get yourself a bowl, and if you just put it back onto your measuring, okay, put it to 0. And I'm using a free from gluten-free self-raising flour. You can use an ordinary gluten flour if you like. This is just to show that it can be done this way. 150 grams, roughly. There we go, 151. Okay. And then exactly the same for your yogurt. So again, this is a Greek style yogurt, nice and thick. What you can do is you can add 150 of this, or say coconut yogurt. It's called Coconut Collaborative, which is a really delicious form of that. And the good thing about the Greek yogurt or the coconut yogurt is that it's thicker, so it's chewier, so it gives the bread more substance, it gives it more texture, more depth, okay, of the different flavors that you're trying to gather together. And then just a little drizzle of olive oil, just a little drizzle, maybe 1 teaspoon to 1 tablespoon, and just a pinch of salt. That's it. Okay, and then all we're going to do is we're just going to mix it and fold it in. And this is what we call no need to knead bread. All we're doing is mixing it round, and we're going to get our hands into it, which is the texture part. When I say gather our senses, I mean we're going to gather every part of it. We're going to feel it. We're going to love the actual getting our hands dirty, because that's all part of the experience, the tactile experience, the feeling of really getting involved in the actual mix, okay? Because that's all part of the process of enjoying the food. Once we've touched the food, once we've engaged with the food, once we've got ourselves literally our hands dirty when we're creating something, when you taste it, it's literally night and day between I've created that, I've worked towards that, I helped to master that, and that feeling will help us to enjoy the process much, much more. So really what we're doing is here is just literally getting it together. It's not a massive kneading job, it's more just of a mixture, okay? This can take a couple of minutes. It can take way less, depending on the temperature of your room, depending on the temperature of the ingredients, and also the temperature of your hands, okay? So this can all just literally mean that sometimes I do this and it's very quick, and other times it takes an extra couple of minutes. And you have to work with that. You have to allow the flexibility of what it gives, okay? So at the moment you should be smelling the acidity of the yogurt, and then also in the background you can smell that garlic and that dill and that mint. So we're creating textures, we're creating colors, flavors, we're creating all these different things to basically have this lovely delicious bread along with a lovely dip, which makes it Greek. But the big difference is that we're not having wheat, gluten, or yeast, which are 3 of the big things that we usually have when it comes to it. So you want to lift it out and just throw it down into the flour in which you have on your surface. And again, we're just going to really kind of get that rolled in, and you'll see how it comes together. Some people are a bit scared by dough. They think, oh, it's not coming together, it's all falling apart. Look how quickly this comes together, okay? So you can see now it's just forming really, really easily. You think, oh no, it's not going to happen. Take it all off your hands, okay? Get that all down in there, and you leave a little bit, that's fine, okay? And you just want to turn it and toss it and fold it a little bit. You're not kneading as such, you're just literally bringing it together. So it's gathering it all into a form of a dough, okay? So you're just getting it all together. If you need to add a tiny, tiny bit of water, that's also fine, and I mean a splash. Okay, so you're just gathering it all together, getting it all added in, and then if there's any little bits that are just hanging around the outside that just don't want to take, that's fine. So that's pretty much it there. And what we'll have to do at this point is give our hands a little bit of a wash. I'm not going to edit this video, you're just going to see it in real time, so that if you do want to cook along, you're not having to stop and start and stop and start. It's literally, we're doing it together, okay? So as you can see, I've formed a nice little ball. I'm just going to set that aside and just get rid of all the last little bits of debris and just put them into the bowl, okay? Editing is okay sometimes if you want a quick video. If you want to cook along with the person, I think sometimes it's better just to have it in real time, especially when you're trying to create something there and then. Okay, so give your hands a quick wash. And pull it out from underneath your fingernails if you have to. Okay. And then you just want to flour the surface a little tiny bit more and get your stove on to a medium to high heat, okay? I have a little stove here just to show you. And again, we're just going to kind of give that a little bit of a mix. Now you can make this into 3, you can make it into 2. It depends how much you like. I like to kind of do these into 3 so that I can make 3 different separate ones. Okay, so as you can see here, just little balls. And they cook even and very nice. And then I take a little bit of flour and I just coat my rolling pin. Okay, and then you're just going to very gently, there's no need to push, it'll work itself. Use your own body weight to push it down a little bit like that. Okay, and then all you're going to do is dry fry. It's simple, it's as simple as that. And all you're going to do very carefully is lift it and put it straight onto the pan, onto the heat. And a griddle. Griddle's nice, it gives a nice texture, and you can just dry fry it. There's no need for oil, okay? So you can press it down whichever way you like. If you like nice circular edges that don't have roughness, you just use a little device in order to create perfection. I like the rustic raw nature of it. You can prepare your next ones if you like. You might even make 4. It depends. Sometimes I do 2 big ones, sometimes I do 2 small ones. 4 small ones. Another good thing to do is bruschetta. So it's an Italian thing rather than a Greek thing. And what you're really doing is you are maybe making a tomato, olive oil, garlic, balsamic vinegar dressing with a bruschetta to put on top of the grilled bread. That works really well. Also, I sometimes do this and actually make it into naan bread, where I add a little bit of nigella seeds, which are onion seeds, a little bit of ghee, butter, and some chopped cilantro, coriander, and that makes a really delicious naan bread alternative for those who love naan bread. I think it's basically, again, I'm yet to meet somebody who goes, no, don't particularly like naan bread. You might like chapati. This works very well because this is kind of like a middle between chapati and naan bread. So it works very, very well. And if it breaks, it doesn't matter. This is going to take a little bit of time. And then what we'll do is you can just literally scoop and you can see it coming together really nicely. Yeah, so it's just frying away nicely. This is a griddle pan that I'm using on a electric hob, so it may not necessarily be as amazing as an ordinary hob, for example, but you can have a little thing of water beside you, splash if you need a little bit of water, for example, just a little bit like this, just a little pinch of water like that. If you feel like it's not, say it doesn't come together quite well, you can do it like that and then add a little bit of flour. Okay. And then you can just bring it back together just to give it that little bit extra. There, look at that. Look at the difference that's made. Perfect. Okay, so just that little bit of water to that flour has made all the difference. Okay. So you want to check on the bread that's on. Maybe turn it, and as you can see there, it's starting to brown ever so slightly. I know that if I was to put it on the cooker behind me, this would be almost burnt by now. It's that quick because it's a gas oven. This is just an electric one, so it's very, very different in handling the textures. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one of them with the Tazaki dip. So at the moment, while that's doing its thing, I'm going to mix all the ingredients of the Tazaki. So just to remind you, it's cucumber, 1 cup. You've also got 1/2 to 1 cup of Greek yogurt or alternative. You've got 1 tablespoon of olive oil. You've got 2 tablespoons of fresh mint and dill, and or both. And also you've got 1 or 2 tablespoons or squeezes of lemon juice, as well as 1 medium garlic and salt and pepper. So you can see there's quite a bit goes on there, brings it all together beautifully. So you've got the protein of the yogurt, you've got the antioxidants of the garlic, you've got the fiber of the cucumber, and you've got the textures, colors, tastes, everything all together in a beautiful Tazaki. Beautiful. Okay, so you can see there that it's all done and ready to serve. And then you just get a nice spoon to serve. Check on your bread. There we go. See how it looks lovely and starting to get the griddle marks. And give your hands a wash. Okay, so what you're really doing is you're creating a flatbread without the need of wheat, gluten, and yeast. And usually bread is wheat and gluten or yeast. It'll be a yeast-free bread with wheat and gluten, or it'll be a yeast bread without wheat and gluten. Very rarely, but it happens. Or sometimes you'll get all free, wheat, gluten, and yeast-free. This is it. Okay, so as you can see, the dressing is made. You can blitz this into a fine puree, but I don't like it because I like the gathering of the senses of textures and tastes and colors and smells, everything brought together in the vibrancy of. So that's that. And then the bread is almost ready. Oh, there we go. You see? And you can just do that for as long as you like. You can do it as brown as you like. You can do it for as thin as you like, as thick as you like. Thicker, do it longer. Thinner, it won't take as long. Higher the temperature, the quicker it'll cook, but it might burn. Keeping it on a medium heat is key in order to make sure that we get a nice overall cooking of the bread. Okay, so then you just want to get a little plate. Okay, and then we just literally serve. And what you can do is, which is a lovely little trick, is to just cut the bread into, actually you can see how easy it is, and just slice it. You can maybe take like a little bit of kitchen roll just to hold it, and then slice it into little bits, and that's great for Greek cooking. I'm sure you've had this or know of it. Like for example, into little sticks. And that's perfect. It's a really good way of doing it, where you have little sticks like so. Okay, and you're creating all of the different senses. And then what you can do then is just get a little stick, break a little bit off, take a little bit of the Tazaki, hot bread and Tazaki. Oh yeah. It's like a mouth explosion. So you've got the tastes, the textures, the smells, the visual, everything coming together really well with homemade flatbread and Tazaki, and it's just delicious. I hope that you try this recipe and enjoy it just as much as I do. Thank you everybody for watching, and leave some comments below as to whether or not you cook it yourself. If you have any questions, by all means I'm here to answer. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the festival. Bye-bye.